Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's live session where we are going to be discussing breech birth with the one and only Dr. Robyn Thompson. Hello, Robyn.
Hello, Chelsea.
You can't see right now, but Robyn is wearing some very fancy brown suede pants and she looks all the part, don't you, Rob?
Actually, they're tan suede, babe. They're
And
not.
oh, silly me. Silly
Let
me.
me.
Oh, there she is. So today, like I said, we are going to be discussing breech birth, and it seems to be, like I was just chatting with Robyn before we went live, it seems to be a bit of a phenomenon right now, alongside a lot of other things in the medicalization of the system, what Dr. Robyn calls the isation syndrome, where it's another route to medical intervention, which it may not need to be. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. But first of all, I would like to share with you, I think you'll think it's quite a wonderful story. And it's Dr. Robyn's personal experience breech birth herself. So Rob, would you
Yes.
like to share?
Well, it could be trouble. If I use the language that my mother used, it might be trouble.
I promise there won't be trouble. I'm sure, I promise you'll get a
Okay,
giggle or
great.
two.
All right. So my mother gave birth to me, a breech baby, in 1944 in a community birthing centre in Leichhardt in New South Wales, in Sydney, New South Wales. And obviously she did it beautifully because I'm still here. So she didn't have any intervention. She gave birth to me with a obstetrician who obviously had experience in the area. And so I was an 8 pounder. So what's that in kilos? I don't know, but I was an
I think
eight
that's
pounder.
that's the higher end of 3 kilos, isn't it?
Yeah, 4 kilos.
I think yeah, just under or on 4 kilos. We could
Yeah,
double
eight
check
pound
that. No
anyway,
problem.
roughly 8 pounds. So there I was. And it took me 3 days for my legs to lower because my feet were up beside my face. So I was obviously sucking on my toes instead of my fingers, I'd say.
Mm.
because, but the sort of things we'll talk about those things in a minute. So yeah, so she bravely gave birth to me, and there was no resistance about that. Apparently, it was all straightforward and not a problem. And then she told me for a good part of once I was old enough to understand.
This is the bit that I love.
Yeah, and she was taking note of what I was doing and how I was reading and things I was doing and talking about or things I was putting together. And she said, "You do everything ask about face." I said, "Well, that's your fault, not mine."
So,
So bless
so
her.
such a lovely story because
Yeah.
the lady who became a midwife herself was not a very, let's call it straightforward, I suppose is not really the right term, but let's say it's not the generic way to give birth anymore, is it? So what a wonderful example of
But
how
yes,
breech birth
I
can
think
look.
I think what's happened, there are some brilliant professionals around the world that are with women who choose to give birth to their babies in the breech position, and the statistics are really quite good. And there's been breech births forever, so they're not going to go away.
And it's
And
not a medical issue, it's not a medical threat to mum or baby, and it's actually not dangerous to give birth breech. It can be dangerous from so what I've heard and in my research to give birth trans if baby's transverse, is that right?
oh, you can't give birth transverse. There's no
Because of
presenting.
cord prolapse, right?
Yes, that's one, but there's no presenting part to lead the way. You can't give birth to a baby sideways in an elongated uterus through a
Yes.
cervix.
I
That's
like
just
I
not.
like your use of language there. It makes sense. There's no presenting way
Yeah.
to give birth.
And
That's
yes,
very
if the
logical.
water ruptures and the cord is down, then the cord can present first.
Hmm.
So we do, and even look, let's go through it gently and slowly. Not everybody can have a successful breech birth. That's very clear. But there are a lot more that could. But in the modern days, what's happening now, the intervention rate is so high that I think what's happened is we've lost our skills. The
Yeah.
skills of breech babies presenting by the breech, whether you're frank breech, which I was with straight legs, feet up to my face, or whether you're a footling breech or, however your bottom is coming down to the cervix is, is the difference. But also, it's very important not to panic, to find the right person that will sit with you and talk with you and see you each, however month or whatever it used to be, once a month, and talk through and help with the measurement of your fundal height to grow your baby instead of ultrasound all the time. Measure, talk, gently touch with consent, palpate, feel. And so, there are times when I've been gently asked to gently palpate a mum, or I've been doing that because she's agreed to it, and I've found the babies in the breech. So it's an expert skill to practice with your fingertips.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I found during my pregnancies, both of them, whenever I've been curious about position and wanting to learn, it seems to be that midwives don't want to help mothers feel their own body, just in case something goes wrong or maybe changes. They don't want mums to worry. It seems that they don't want to share that knowledge. But also, I really find that they're presenting breech positions quite early. They're saying that babies are breech at 30 weeks. It seems to be around that mark where they're being scheduled for C-sections. And
it might be normal for the baby to be in breech at that time, yes.
Yeah, because babies still have so much room to move. I remember you telling me that when I was concerned.
Yeah. So I think that the skill has been lost. And what's happening now, because it's a phenomenon of medicalisation, and there's a lot of fear generated by coercing people, frightening them, that the midwives are losing their skills, and they're not amongst people who mentor them in this aspect. Now, I can't say I've been involved with lots and lots of breech babies. I've been in all different types of experiences I've had in the hospital system and in my home birthing practice as well. But I think that if we're going to work with women, we need to achieve those skills, and we need to find the right people who will mentor us to be able to understand how they've gathered their skills and what they're doing and what they have to teach as well.
And the big problem with that, I feel, in this age, as you said, in modern medical practice for pregnant women, is if so many women are being scheduled for C-sections, if your baby is presenting breech after, say, 36 weeks, how will medical professionals, midwives, OBS, how will they learn to support a woman in breech birth if they aren't experiencing them?
No, they won't. They're fearful too. And also the isation syndrome includes the institutionalisation, where women are out of the hospital even after a caesarean section on the second day. Yeah. I mean, that was never heard of in my practice, to be out. That's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, because my sister who had a C-section.
Just recovering from major abdominal surgery. And you should never be out at that stage. It should be a longer settling in, and now they're moving so quickly, and that has occurred again since politicalisation has become involved, where politicians decided they could save more money by putting all women through the institutionalisation instead of letting women choose where they wanted to be.
It's so true, and you do talk about that.
Let me finish. Otherwise I forget. That has changed dramatically in my years of experience, where the politicians have become involved, and then insurance has become involved. So insuranceisation frightens people again for medico-legal, things where once upon a time we all spoke with each other. We talked about things. We included the family. We didn't behave in the way it's happening now. So there's a lot of fear built into professional life. That's so how true. I see it. And I
feel like the fear you talk about, it transcends onto the fear of loss of their job as well. Because they, of course, have policies and procedures to follow themselves, as midwives, as other doctors as well. And I think that if routinely they are offering C-sections and further scans, etc., then if someone says, no, I don't want to, I would like to birth vaginally, then they're at a loss what to say, it seems, in the community of women who would like to have a physiological birth. One beautiful story I've had recently is a mum who didn't have any ultrasounds. She had opted out of that service, which is within her right. She was very healthy pregnancy. Baby was very healthy throughout. And just as she was having her home birth in the water at home, the midwife said, "Oh, I can see some feet." And out baby came, but mum didn't tear. There was no challenges or anything. Mum did say that she had quite long a second stage of labor, which might have been where they didn't know about the breech baby, wasn't picked up on, so they weren't able to adjust her position in birth, which you spoke about when we saw each other a couple of weeks ago. So do check out that video, because Dr. Robyn gives some great tips on position during labor as well. And yeah, there's a way to support breech birth, I feel, which doesn't always have to be seen as an emergency, right? Birth isn't an emergency.
Well, way back in my early career, I had the absolute privilege of meeting Michel Audant, the French obstetrician who had the birth centre in pacifiers in France, and then he moved to the UK. And he had a beautiful video collection of women giving birth in the water who were breech babies, and the breech babies with feet down were cycling out through the water. The other babies like me who had their feet up were coming down beautifully in the water. So I don't know, in those days I was fascinated with it and had the opportunity to talk with him in Melbourne, and oh my goodness, just talking with him was giving me so much more information. Yeah. He's an elderly gentleman like me now, so probably a little bit older than me. And he's done some phenomenal work. The other one is Sarah Buckley in Australia, Dr. Sarah Buckley. She's done some phenomenal work, and her writings are fantastic. Sarah Wickham in the UK, and she's got so much information. And there's other colleagues around the countries, various countries, who provide amazing information. You were naming some just before. We've got Deborah Niger.
And you gave a very interesting one. Breech Without Borders is a fantastic resource that Dr. Robyn helped us find, and that is based on Andrew Bistis, and it's about the CTG monitoring during breech birth, which is really interesting. We haven't actually spoken about that today, because as we've spoken about previously, Dr. Robyn has said that CTG monitoring can actually, there's no evidence, in fact there's new research to prove that CTG monitoring is actually more harmful to the birthing process, because it gets in the way. It's very annoying for the mum. So do check out Dr. Sarah Wickham's research.
We know it increases the cesarean section rate.
Exactly, which is not the aim, right? That's not the aim.
Kirsten's research. Kirsten Small's research.
That's right. There's lots.
And also, can I just add that with that Dr. Andrew Bistis, who's well known here, and he's so many people care about him because he's so good.
We have
one of my dear colleagues, Robyn Gasparotto, works with him too. And so then there's the American couple. They are married, an obstetrician and a midwife, and they are apparently doing amazing work as well. So it hasn't disappeared, but it's hard to achieve the support that you need if you're a mother with a little baby in the breech. And of course, yes, in the early weeks and months, there's plenty of time for the baby to move around. I know we do a lot of work to turn them around, but I wonder whether that's absolutely necessary too. Does it stress the baby? Does it stress the mother?
Yeah, there's no guarantee either, is there? And baby can always move back, because we're not sure why baby was presenting in that position in the first place. So
and we don't know whether the baby's coming head down, whether it's going to be deflexed or flexed properly. We don't know any of that. So it's a similar principle. You don't really know until the progress of labour begins. And once that you're watching and you have the privilege of being with a mother through the progress of labour, that's the key word, and in her good time, Sarah Wickham, not in our good time as the professionals, it's in the institutionalisation of women and their good time. It's about the woman's good time and how she wants to be, how she wants to move, how she feels when she needs to have a rest. First-time mothers often want to have a sleep, and that's called the inert period. They go quiet for a while and they have a sleep.
Which is often, unfortunately,
can I just finish? Can I finish? Because I forget. I
Talking
had a
about the
mum,
inert period, yes, of
a
course.
beautiful mother who slept for nearly 5 hours. She woke up. She was down under the house, all set up under the house in a beautiful warm
Beautiful.
climate. Oh, it was just beautiful. And when we packed her neatly while she slept, listened quietly with a no sound on the fetal heart rate Doppler, the little Doppler,
Mm.
and tried not to disturb her too much. When she woke naturally from her sleep, she ran up the stairs, she went into the toilet, then into the shower. She came out of the shower and she gave birth on the floor right where she was.
Yeah, when left, birth
So,
is so much more
yeah,
straightforward, I feel. And I've
yeah,
heard lots of toilet births, in the bathroom births, because it's a really good position, isn't
yeah,
it? As we've spoke
yeah,
about again, as we spoke about
yes,
recently. And yeah, like you said, the inert period is something that is so hugely misunderstood, misinterpreted by even medical professionals, midwives, as being a delay in the progress of labor. So,
yes,
like we always say, be well informed, educate yourself. These resources that Dr. Robyn has shared with you today are just so incredible. All the names that Dr. Robyn has mentioned today have so many resources and research papers that are really easy to understand, because we understand that a lot of this research can be so jargon filled, it's hard to actually read. But these wonderful doctors and professionals that Dr. Robyn has shared today are just fantastic resources for you to go and check out. And there are many videos online as well of successful breech births. So surround yourself with that knowledge, and of course, be prepared for the unexpected as well. So
absolutely,
there may very
absolutely.
well, Dr. Robyn did say that it's not always straightforward. So be prepared in case you do need to go in for that C-section. We have a
Or if you're there and you need to have a cesarean section, you might already be there and doing what you need to do.
that's
But
absolutely true.
in the law of consent, in an emergency or an urgent situation, the senior obstetrician can make the decisions, and I think that's a very special, respectful way to be, going. And I would love to see more of my colleagues involved with people who are specialising in breech birth, because I think if we did that, there'd be a huge turnaround with mothers having choices again and not being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and what you will and won't do. And if you don't, this is what's going to happen.
Yes,
And I
it's
won't
the
use
and
the
if you don't,
language.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a
So
very big point.
again, they don't know when they're saying that is going to happen. It's not right.
No.
It's coercion by fear. So I think all of us need to come together, every one of us, and we all have skills amongst us that can be shared. Nobody's good at absolutely everything. So our expertise flows far and wide. So we can be helpful with each other, and we can work with our colleagues, and we can have this relationship that we used to have with our obstetrician friends. Nobody was ever I don't know, it's just turned around to being a very difficult time. And the stories that I receive from mothers telling me on video and also telling me in their stories is pretty horrific. And I have that evidence. So I'm not talking without understanding that there are so many women out there that are
And
being
there's recent research
treated
as well that
unfairly
proves that
recently.
that's 70% of women giving birth in the modern world are experiencing birth trauma, and that statistic is so heartbreaking. And it does mirror what you unfortunately do see and witness and hear and learn about every day in your position, and that's really sad. So it is time for us to make a
Well,
stand.
my heart aches for that. I really do ache for the women. And just seeing a mother today with one of our student educators, beautiful woman doing a session with the young educator, and she could hardly sit down. So, and she's breastfeeding her baby beautifully now. She's got no pain today. So I hope that continues. I really do hope that continues, because she's doing it hard.
Oh, I'm sure it will. And that's
Yeah.
another point we should add, really, that if you are worried about breech birth, get in touch. If you're worried about the possibilities that could entail in an emergency situation, get in touch, because Dr. Robyn has provided a wealth of resources, information, support and guidance within the Thompson Method program to help you be fully prepared for your C-section and for those following weeks, months breastfeeding your baby as well, if that's your choice. And there are some things that you can put in place included in your birth plan, which would really help you. And of course, it's wonderful to be able to reach out and have that support, isn't it? It makes all the difference.
It's really a discussion plan, because it's not such as a birth plan. It is what you would like. It's your choice.
It's a great template, though.
It's actually a template that you can actually extract or draw from what you want. But in that template, you'll know what it is that you want. Nobody else knows much about that. But it also gives you opportunity to open up the discussion so other people can talk with you, and sitting down to talk with you, not standing over you, is so important, because that's a dominant position. And not sitting behind a desk, but sitting to the side of the desk to talk with you.
That's actually a really good point, because thanks to you, when you said that to me, I actually booked a separate appointment, separate to my check, separate just based on my birth preferences, which of course included my birth plan. And we went through it, had a whole hour with my midwife, who unfortunately wasn't there for the birth, because, you know, babies don't ever give you the right timings, but I still was able to talk it through with a midwife and actually discuss it like you encouraged me to. And it made such a big difference. I was so relaxed coming out of that session. And of course, then you can question their policies and procedures, and you can tell them what you prefer. And she was able to make a note in my notes to mention to her colleagues what I did want and what I didn't want. And it was a much better process than with my first.
Or what you preferred. Because if you say you don't want and it turns around the other way, it's difficult for my professional colleagues, and it's difficult for you and the rest of your family as well. So these are your preferences. And they are choices based on your preferences. But however, you're flexible enough to know that, you know, you may need help. And if you do, preferably expert help, not just someone who doesn't know and hasn't had the experience. You really need expert help. Someone who's been working in that field or that particular part of pregnancy, labour and birth that you feel confident with. And I think they're really important features that we need to consider.
Yeah, that is very true. Be flexible and maybe consider all of your preferences. In the ABC plan, which Dr. Robyn has mentioned in the past as well. So we hope that's been helpful. We've dropped lots of resources. I'll post as many links down below to those resources for you to go check out yourself. Dr. Robyn has shared some really wonderful websites and pages and some other research papers with me as well. So I will share those with you. Dr. Robyn, thank you as always for your expertise, your knowledge, sharing these resources with your colleagues as well. Thank you for that and your time, which is very sought after.
Thank you, Chelsea. Sorry I had to break in because I have to.
No, you know me. Please do.
I'm a lot older than you, so I have to.
Hey, listen, what you're saying is way more important than anything I've got to say. So go.
No, it's not. No, it's not. We're all on a journey, right? And that journey is a learning journey for a lot of people. And so what we're doing is sharing information. We're not saying this is how you have to do it. We're sharing.
Absolutely.
And that is so important, sharing information, because every person on the planet is unique. Every mother and baby is unique. It will not be the same. Our pelvises are different. They're not all the same. And we teach with a pelvis that looks like they're all going to be the same.
So true. The rubber pelvis, let's not get into that because it makes us slightly angry, doesn't it? The doll birth.
I just find that we have to think a little bit more in the flexible side of things of a unique mother and her unique baby.
Yeah, and ultimately it's all about informed choice, isn't it? So the choice is yours, it's your body, it's your baby, the choice is yours. And having the information and resources to do your own research and make a decision that you're confident with is the right one for you.
And as long as it's safe to do so for you and your baby, and no one can actually predict that. None of us can predict that things might go wrong or what might go wrong. We might be able to, during the progress of labour, be aware that there's changes that we need to consider. And if we're there with that woman the whole time, we can learn so much.
Absolutely.
So much.
Very true.
That wonderful woman, I should say, the wonderful women that give us the privilege to learn.
always spoken so beautifully, and that's very true. But there we go. We hope that the information we have shared with you will be beneficial. Do pop us below any questions that you might have, any questions that have come in, I will get back to as well. And a big shout out to you all, and congratulations on your pregnancies as well. We look forward to hearing about your birthing stories. Thank you so much, everyone. Dr. Robyn, you're an angel. Thank you for your time.
I'm not sure about that.
Bye, guys.
Okay, Chelsea, take care.